It is our tradition here to have me ask you what you'd like me to talk about today. So if any brave souls would commit to that. Topics for today?
Connection to ancestors.
Connection to ancestors.
Rites of passage.
Okay, one sec. Okay. Any others?
Rainbow Bridge.
Get out of anxiety.
Mediumship.
Unstoppable love.
Okay, hold on.
Program.
Good? Good, okay. Unstoppable love was one of them. Mediumship, anxiety, rainbow bridge, rites of passage, and so on. Just so you know the fun with which we can start with all these abstract, seemingly unrelated topics. Unstoppable to dream, the unstoppable dream. Unstoppable love was one of them. Programming, all right, I won't sing again. Since apparently that didn't go over. Used to be standing ovations at that. I'm kidding. So anyway, no. Thank you. So lots of variety. Connection to ancestors, lots of variety. And it's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all of you. So we'll try to weave that in as well. It's very important that we understand that, the way humans look at life, Father's Day or any day of the week, it's a Sunday, we have programs. One of you brought up programming. We have programs about everything. A Course in Miracles teaches us, I see only the past. And what that means is nothing is as it is in the moment, a holy, actual holy moment. It's never just completely, I don't know what this is. God, why don't you show me? And the Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, descends in and says, boom, and wow, it could be a dead tree. Well, what's a dead tree? It's a tree that died. What does that mean? It's no longer alive. We have all these assumptions and programs about it. Did you say to the tree, are you dead? It'd be like, no, but everybody keeps thinking I am. It would say, I'm still connected to the Earth Mother and I'm still fully alive. But nobody asks. They have everybody's got this gratuitous thing, relationships. Well, we're married. And what does that mean? Well, so there's certain labels and meanings to these things, certificates and all linear. Ancient people, ancestors, and connecting with our ancestors, it's almost like you have to develop a different way of thinking to connect with the all. Ancestors believed in connecting with the all. Whether it's Peruvian, North American, African, indigenous people from around the world, it's weird because in a way they were more right-brained, less analytical, less assumptions made, and less programs lived by, right? They didn't raise their children going, well, honey, girls, come here, you're going to be the smart one and you're the pretty one. What if they went, well, I'd rather be the opposite. Can we be both? Well, no, that's thinking outside the box. You're not allowed to do that. In today's age, you're not allowed to do that. Son, have a seat. I want to let you know we have plans, your mom and I, for your future. And the kid's like, I'm 4. I know, but you're going to be an accountant just like your dad. And the kid's like, as Monty Python, I just want to sing. If you don't know the movie, you won't understand what I said there. But Father, I just want to sing. Stop that. And you got that parent, there's none of that. No fun, no smiling. Don't you dare twirl. No son of mine's going to twirl. But that's what I feel. Stop. Feelings. Son, let me tell you about feelings. They'll get you into a lot of trouble. I married your mother because I thought I felt something. And now we're unhappy. So I wouldn't follow feelings if I were you. This is the program, just such weird, dense way of living. At one time, people were like, the child's coming through. What is the child about? And we'll name it based on what the child is about. Well, how are we supposed to know what it's about? Ask it. Oh, okay, well, but it can't answer until it can speak. Oh, so you're still thinking that there's no other world besides the linear speaking world. Why don't you ask it and let it appear in your dreams? See, some people think that's just crazy. You start to say, honey, I had a dream, and the child came to me and told me what it's going to be named. To the people of Israel 2,000 years ago, that would have been normal. To indigenous peoples in any continent, it would have been normal hundreds or thousands of years ago. Now it's ludicrous. But who told us that real living is ludicrous? That's a program. And it's going to come to an end, and it is coming to an end. The truth is, it's already come to an end. This world that is completely miscreated never actually existed. It's just a hologram. But it's such a strange thing, this world and how we experience it. One of the weirdest things to understand is that, imagine, instead of just saying this is how we create the world in general, the truth is, when you pass away, before you come back, let's call it, there are meetings that are held. Anybody going back this year? And there's a meeting, and all the souls say, yeah, okay. Believe it or not, there are angelic beings that say, now, we're going to let you know some of the things that you're going into. This year, there's an animal that's going to go extinct. This year, there's going to be certain kinds of politics or whatever it is. Some of it, we're told what it's going to look like. This is the realm of archetypes, where we are programming the overall archetypes of what we're coming into. Some of it, however, is going to be, what would you guys like to see? And of course, one of us is going to go 3 moons, and they'll say, but that's not in agreement with the majority. So why don't you either go in and accept 1 moon for now, or wait till the time we'll send you to a planet where there's 3 moons? And I would like that, they would say, then that's what we'll do. But what we come into is agreed. Individually and collectively, this is what we're coming into. Is it always nice? No, usually people are complaining, but that's the whole thing. We sit down, we collectively agree, we project the world, exactly what it's going to be like when we come in. Then we drop ourselves in and act like victims. I can't believe I came into this world. Look at you people. You've made another animal extinct. Someone out there is going, read your contract. It said that animal was going to go extinct. It said that, that one island that you used to visit, it's underwater now. But that's in your contract. You know every major thing before you come in. But humans love, because the ego will say, amnesia. And you come in, 1 minute you're like, I'm ready to go. And it's like, I can't believe I'm a victim of this world. That is not how you heal. That is not mastery. That is not how you change things. You have to own what we create before you can change it. Complaining about it doesn't do anything. Try this. Not a meditation, but just imagine what I'm saying here. Imagine yourself in an inescapable room. No way out. How do you get out? Well, and people will go, I'm picturing a flamethrower. It's inescapable. There's a door. It's inescapable. It's locked. I have a key. It's inescapable. There's a window. It's inescapable. You forgot the rule here. It's inescapable. How do you get out? And then there's always the clever ones, spiritual people. No flamethrower, no door. I just go into meditation. And I just practice being. And they try the cosmic. It's inescapable. But what did I say, if you heard me? Imagine yourself in an inescapable room, which means to get out, you have to imagine yourself out. This world is an inescapable world. You're going to keep reincarnating. Listen to me carefully. If I sound too intense, forgive me in advance. You cannot escape this world. You can't wish it weren't here. You can't wish you didn't reincarnate. There's no being in the history of this planet that ever said, oh, I wish that weren't happening, and then it just changed. You can't wish. It's worthless. It's not empowered. You have to show up and love the hell out of the world we miscreated for it to become a different world. You have to show up and transform the world. There's only 2 ways to escape the inescapable planet. And essentially that's found in, like Christ consciousness. It's a concept of Christ consciousness. But for one, you have to imagine being in a world that isn't this world. And by that, I don't mean dissociating. What I mean is imagine that the presence of God is here despite the way things look. Imagine that you feel love even though you feel hurt. Try imagining yourself out of that room. Imagine that despite the way things look, use your higher mind, which is your imagination, and imagine that the love and presence of God is here. The second thing we have to do, which is in a way the most challenging, is that while we're still here, we practice love and forgiveness, compassion. So on one hand, I'm just accepting and imagining that everything is already okay, that I am still in the hands, heart of God. But until I completely get that, I have work to do. On one hand, I don't have any work to do. I am in God. That's where my imagination gets to rule. On the other hand, it doesn't feel that way. So I seemingly have work to do. And that work is going to be the pains and the looking at our stuff and forgiving and doing the work we're doing in centers like this with your counselors or whatever else it happens to be. But what's amazing is how much good advice can you get from a counselor if they don't know what heaven is? How much good can a sponsor be if they don't know what it's like to be sober? So we go to even our parents. Mom, Dad, I expected you to be a little more together. And they should say, what gave you that idea? The fact that we incarnated means that we're a little twisted, like you. We're messed up. Well, but you're older. I'm sorry, you expect. How can your parents be more perfect and know how to raise you if they haven't had it themselves? This is unfair. It's unfair because we think our parents give us birth physically. They should also birth us psychologically and spiritually. And in case you haven't figured this out, they cannot usually do that. At best, the good news is they're not perfect, but at best, some parents, you know what they do? They can't give you perfection that they don't have. You know what they can do? They give you hope. Some parents can say, despite this world, you can do it, you can make it, I support you. That's good, because they're giving you some light, flickers of light in a dark world. But many of them don't do that, and we hold it against them. I understand why we hold it against them. It makes sense, the hurts and I wish they had, but they didn't. Now, can you let them off the hook? If you can't, you stay hooked by their disconnection from spirit. Essentially, what you have to do is retire them. Yeah, send that as a Father's Day card today. Dad, and I want to include you too, Mom, even though it's not Mother's Day. I retire you from being, only God is my father and mother. Jesus says, don't call any person father. And yet we call dad father. We call priest father. Why did a religion develop and say you're going to call the priest father when the religion's based on Jesus, who says don't call people father? Right. And why did he say don't call him father? Because he's trying to encourage you, saying, listen, your creator, Father, your creator is God. Call no man father. Respect people for the roles they play. If it's your boss, respect them. But that's it. Respect roles and the game. Play the game. As long as it's not harming you or others, you play along. But you know the truth. You're awake, but you go through the motions. So it's okay to retire these folks, knowing how could they have given you heaven if they've never been there. Same with counselors, teachers. They're flawed and they're going to make mistakes. The best teachers, counselors, sponsors would be the ones who most authentically have experienced the thing they're taking you to. Why would you go to a jeweler and say, I got to get some advice on a car tune-up? Why would you go to a mechanic and say, here's some diamonds. Can you give me some feedback about? It doesn't make sense. They have no clue about this other thing. If they're specialists in an area, respect them for that. But why? Why are we dating people? You know what you really want? A date. No, you don't. You want God. You know what you really want? Sex. No, you don't. You want God. You know what you want? Affection. No. All we ever want is God, because that's all that exists. That's all that's real. God. It's all that matters. And some of us go, oh, okay, yeah. I remember being devoted like that. Totally God, no dating, no nothing. I was a nun. And, and I've still come back with some of that, and it's not fun. So thanks, Michael, for encouraging me to just go back to being a celibate, chaste, financially broke, person. Great news. No, it's not like that. It's not deny these things. It's knowing what they represent. What I really want is God. You think you want food when you're hungry, but why are you hungry? You're incapable of being hungry. Well, hunger, my stomach's empty. What stomach? You don't have one. You're a hologram. Your body is a hologram. You are an infinite spiritual being who thinks you're an empty body. Do you really want me to encourage that and support that? Well, it's not true, but it's okay. Here, in fact, I'll buy you lunch. See, I can buy someone lunch and not be enabling their false assumption that they're a body. How do I do that? If I'm buying them food, I'm supporting that they have an empty stomach, they're a mere mortal, and this is it for them. No, in here, you buy the food knowing that the act is not for their body, it's to show the love of their soul. There are people that love to talk in Sedona and other towns like this, sacred, all the words sacred. Let's go out to the sacred land. The earth is sacred. If the earth is that sacred, why didn't it protect Native Americans? If the earth is that sacred, why did Lemuria sink? It isn't the earth, it's the mother underneath what you see in the earth. It's the Spirit of God and the mother in the earth. It isn't the soil that's sacred, but the same for you and your people around you. If you don't know that the people are sacred and you just think the earth is sacred but people are not, then you're missing the point. If you want to believe the earth is sacred, then you also have to own that you're sacred. And you have to own, for you to be sacred, everybody, without exclusion, is sacred. As soon as I start deciding which ones of you are not sacred, that tree is sacred because it's alive, that tree isn't because it's dead. It's not true. I don't even know what's sacred unless I have the mother tell me, because she knows I theorize. You see? It's bizarre. There are people that say, let's go out to the sacred land, man, and we're just going to be with the planet and be great so far. And then they say, hey, let me get the six-pack out of my backpack, and we're going to do some ayahuasca. And we're going to, no offense if you do ayahuasca and Budweiser, that's your thing. But what I'm saying, is that if you're going to put drugs or alcohol into your body and claim the planet is sacred, you're in a symbiotic relationship with the planet. How could you say it's sacred, but put garbage in you because you're connected to her? It doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect and pure and, you're dietarily, everything's got to be pure. No, it's all about knowing the truth, but respecting the illusion. It's all about humility. You want to understand the sacredness of the planet? Don't go out and tell the planet. Don't go out to the mountains or the trees or the rivers and tell it what it is. Ask it. See, but linear world and science tells the world what it is. Well, we know that biologically, cellularly, we can look at this from a scientific standpoint, Botany 101, 102, or whatever other number you want to attach to it. I'm a botanist, I'm a specialist of this and that and the other. Great. And tell me about this tree. Well, technically the breakdown of this chemical level, how boring. It's just like, wow. For a person like me in school, if I were going into a high school class, which I rarely visited, but if I were to go into a high school class and they started going, here's a tree and we're going to break it down, sell it, or when they wanted me to dissect a frog, I couldn't do it. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying that wasn't my thing. But if I'm going to dissect a tree, it's already lost. As soon as you dissect and analyze something, the something is actually dead. You're analyzing a corpse, even if it's living. When you analyze a person, the relationship to them is already dead. Because there's no relating. It's one person opining, one person telling something what it is. There's no relating. To ask, Father, Mother, God, I don't know what this person is. I think it's my child. I mean, that's logical. But you know what? I'm going to just try this. You tell me who they are. If you've ever done eye gazing, you sit and you look in each other's eyes. And of course, you're looking, there's eyes. Oh, you have pretty eyes. Well, that's just linear. You go further. now the eyes and the gazing, and you go past the eyes drying, and you go past that, and suddenly you're seeing a being there, a person and their eyes, which are the window to the soul. And then you start to notice kind of a light around them. Maybe you're noticing aura. Well, that's kind of cool. It's going to another level. Next thing you know, they're morphing, and you're like, wait, what? And you see other features and past life images coming through. See, what's happening is you're going like through a time tunnel, and things are just peeling away and peeling away and peeling away. You could stop at any moment and say, now I have the answer. You're not just a friend of mine or doing a classmate. You're a person, a woman from the 18th century or the 4th century, and it's still linear. Let it keep going, because you're supposed to be saying, I don't know who you are. And you're going to be tempted to go, wait, that's it. You're looking for the right answer? This is what you do in healing. I thought I was messed up, but then I went and saw a specialist, and I found out it was my mother. It's her fault. You're still tagging things, and that's still linear. There's no healing in that. There's no multidimensional consciousness in that. I think I know what Father's Day is. I think I know what my dad is. No, you don't. And it sounds ridiculous, and certain people would be watching this talk. They'll sign off or leave immediately because they are so entrenched in, I know what I know, and that's the truth. What I know is fact. You see? It takes humility to say, I know nothing. That's the way of the Tao. That's the way of Jesus and Christ. I know nothing. It's what he teaches us. Course in Miracles, I know nothing. Those concepts are huge. They sound almost self-deprecating, but they're not. They're empowering, because if I can own that the I that thinks it knows, if I can own that and let it empty itself out and say, I know nothing, you're empty and can be filled with the all-knowing God. If the I that thinks it's me already knows enough, you can't tell me anything. I know everything. I've been around. Good for you. I went to a reader once, and I don't believe in those things, but they said I've lived 5,000 lifetimes. They said it's a world record. They said I've lived more times than anyone else on the planet, and I got a psychic award. Stamped into my 18th dimensional soul, there's an award that says incarnating more than anybody, which means I know. I'm like Highlander, and I've been around, and I know all kinds of things that most people don't know. You're going to tell this to me? You know what I'm going to say? What that means to me is you're a slow learner. If you had to incarnate 5,000 times, what in the hell is wrong with you? Do you think that's impressive? When you go to the other side, I know the angels go, bless you, 5,000. Wow, bless you. What they're really thinking is, geez, you've got to be kidding me. Couldn't you have learned it in 5 lifetimes? That's what it's like, for real. So, anyway. Back to the concept of oneness. Deep down, we're one with everything, but you won't know by analyzing it. You only know by letting go of your opinions and analysis. I know it's not easy. If you have children that are struggling, you might say, oh, this is my child. Then it'll be, that's a label. And it's a boy or it's a girl. And it's this or it's that. And then there's, and they have some challenges. They fight me a lot on things, or whatever the labels are. And then there's, but I've heard that past life they were a warrior and that's why they fight with labels. It's still labels. I understand it's deeper insights, but it's still labels. When are you able to say, I don't know what this child is, but I'm waiting for God to reveal it? God won't say, here are some better insights. Your child has this dysfunction or that. If you're asking God, God's going to say, let me show you how to see the soul of your child, no matter what it does or thinks on the outside. So now you have infinite patience consciousness. Because I don't know what you're doing on the outside. I only know that in you there is a holy being. How is the child that's got troubles ever going to find its real self if everybody keeps labeling it by what it does on the outside? If the outside is a hologram, guess who created the hologram? The child and the parents and even neighbors. Everybody that ever encounters the child contributed to the hologram, because that's how consciousness works. Consciousness works with what's called interference patterns. That is to say, when you're working on something like holograms, when they actually did develop holograms, scientific holograms, they go, okay, we have these lasers, and lasers they're using to create holograms in a laboratory. Why lasers? Because that's the purest form of light that man knows, which means lasers are technically a replica of your consciousness because you're the light of God. So they use lasers, which is as close as they can get to what consciousness is, which is light. Now they take these lasers and they shoot just one laser, let's say, and it bounces off these mirrors to the center of the room. Nothing happens. But when they bounce a second one going another direction, they come together. When they overlap, it's interesting because you could think it's two walls of light. When they come together, that's not what happens where you see a hologram. It's when they cross through each other and create what's called the vesica Pisces. And the vesica is the symbol of the Christ, which means the Christ is the one who is joining consciousness with others. As soon as they tell one laser to move through an object, say an apple, and when it comes together, it'll form a three-dimensional apple in the center of the room, even though there's no apple. How can that happen? Because a topic has been introduced to the laser, which is your consciousness, and brought. But why we can't see it if it's only one, which means it's not just you creating this world, it's you and us. Your thoughts and beliefs come to the center of the room, in any room, and it combines with our collective beliefs, and then it creates this interference pattern, like drop a stone in water, drop a stone. It's where the ripples overlap. That overlapping effect is where consciousness happens, manifestation happens. So they take this scientific experiment, and to me, when I learned of that many years ago, I went, that's a replica of consciousness. They're thinking it's kind of cool science lab experiment. I'm going, man, don't you get it? They're using laser light because that's consciousness, because that's the closest thing they can come to for imagining consciousness. So you have these interference patterns, which is a funny word for it, but these joining patterns, and all of a sudden something's there. It's incredible. If you want to get just a little weirder, they actually have the laser go through and let's say penetrate an apple or a picture of an apple. Now let's say it's they call them it's a plate they use. We'll call it a photograph of an apple. Now they take the apple, strangely enough, if it's glass, they shatter it into 1,000 pieces. If it's on film, they cut it into 1,000 pieces, the apple. Okay? Now, throw all the pieces away except one. It could have been the core, it could have been the base, the side, left side, right side, any part of the apple. Shoot the laser through that part and it'll still manifest a full whole apple. Because in all is all. How can that even happen? How can a full apple appear? And it's three-dimensional, meaning height, width, depth, but it's still not solid. Why? Because it's still not real consciousness of ours. It's still just a laser, but it's three-dimensional. It's incredible. Three-dimensional. Out of even a fragment of a picture of an apple. And this is us. The interference pattern is this world. And the things we see are coming from my consciousness and yours, collectively. Yours and ours. And yet we want to still keep believing that we're just mere mortals and we're thrown into the world, to see how we survive, which is not survival at all. It's just getting by. Survival of the fittest, if nothing else. So all that we've ever gone through, all that we've ever experienced, not just our ancestors and their memories, but our ancestors and our memories, because we were once them and once with them. In every part of the apple is the whole apple projected onto the screen, which means in every one of your lives, every one of you, your souls and your memories, if we put laser light through it and beam it into the center of the room, technically you're capable of seeing all of our lives because we're all connected. Beaming through one person, you would still find all of us, called the Aacic Records. See? Now, to read those records becomes easier when you understand that it's not just a psychic tuning in to the records. It's love everyone and you'll know everyone. Love the tree and ask it to teach you. Chop it down, it already doesn't trust you. I'm going to chop you down and analyze you in a lab. Have I got a home for you? Slicing it, bisecting it, animals and all that, slicing it all up and putting it under a microscope, and you want it to reveal itself? The best you're going to get is an analysis with your eyes which lie to you. So why should we trust what you deduce from your analytical eyes? The shaman throughout indigenous tribes throughout the world, they ask, what are you about? The history of coffee is said to have been a person falling asleep against the tree, shrub, whatever, coffee's coming from. And the tree, when the person wakes up, it's downloaded its properties. But this is not magic. Although some people do this and they're called pagans. They're called primitive people. Primitive? The analytical brain is primitive. It literally is. The analytical brain is actually a lower part of your brain, a less evolved part. The imaginative part of your brain is more evolved. So why are they called crazy? And the analytical people, because the analytical people need to pick on somebody so they're not at the lowest of the rung here. They got, we'll just analyze and call you crazy. We're the analysts here, but they have to, or else they look bad because they don't know how to do the magic you do by just listening. What's going on with this animal? What's going on? It's sick, but how do I find out if it's sick? Well, we'll do blood work, and there's nothing wrong with doing blood work, but we'll just do all these analytical things. But many a illness on this planet, whether it's a tree, an animal, a person, many a ills, even the planet and her, tectonic plates, many a ill are coming from consciousness, not from the symptoms. If we understood consciousness, you couldn't be sick because you'd be able to track it down to where did I have a belief that this had any value? And we do this all around. We do this in every way. People are sitting here going, my phone. Dang solar rays, I was told that. Poor victim. Let me explain what really happened. You, being one of us, have issues. Your issues emanate outward in your aura. And then it emanates outward in your collective aura. And then it emanates out into the planetary aura, making her aura sick. That aura emanates outward and kind of tickles the sun. I'm sick. And the sun goes, tell me about it. I watch you people, every day. So it's picking up the sickness of the planet and it vomits, and it's called solar flares. The solar flares come to the earth and we're like, oh, if it weren't for those solar flares, and the sun's going, don't you dare blame me. All I'm doing is mirroring you. Your rage, your political rage, your emotional rage, your hurt feelings, what your parents did or didn't do. And I'm not saying it's okay that people are hurtful, but it's saying your rage about it gets me a bit stirred up, the sun says. And when I get stirred up, there's flames. And those flames do in fact have an effect, solar flares and storms, to the earth. And it wears down something that we could call her aura, coming this way now. Toxicity going out, and then solar storms wearing down the Earth Mother's defenses, called her aura. Now we have holes in the ozone and other things, but this is what we're doing to ourselves. Even if the world exploded as an effect from all of this, she's fine. She didn't do this to herself. She's going to look at us and say, I'm very sorry for you. If we destroy the world, she's fine. Don't mourn for the planet, although there's a time that might feel right. Don't mourn for yourself. Jesus told the people of Jerusalem, don't cry for me, cry for yourselves. Because he meant, I know what's happening, and I'm okay with this. What's not okay is you don't know what you're doing. You're taking out your anger and rage and insecurities on me, and you have no idea what that's going to bring back to you karmically. Cry for yourselves. You understand that? So we go to a deeper level of knowing and understanding. We're so sorry, Father, Mother God. We're so sorry for the insanity we started believing and made into our programming. That everybody's bad, that everything is evil, that, and I have to fight the survival of the fittest, and people didn't give me or did give me what I didn't want and didn't give me what I did want, and totally in that negative hurt place. I understand the hurt. We'll hold you while you cry. We'll do rage exercises. We have all kinds of means of reprogramming and allowing some of this to decompress. So let's decompress. But don't not decompress. Stay angry and continue blaming and expect peace. Let the old out. Somehow, some way, let the old out. Let it decompress. Just let that go somehow. I don't care how you do it. Cry it out, scream it out, all in a therapeutic, healthy way. Cry it out, scream it out, and so on. But at the same time, are you refilling with anything new? I didn't even know I could. I didn't know some people don't think they're worthy. Well, some are just ignorant. They refill with what? How about the peace of God? Oh, you don't know what I've done to my life. I don't deserve God's presence. See? Very sad. But it's okay. It's okay. We all have that stuff. Now, what do you want to do with it? Let's look at it. Let's look at it with love and compassion. Let's let it disperse. Let's give it to the heavens, to God, to the mother. She knows how to disperse this stuff. You can take a crystal and, bury it or bury it in salt, and the earth, or just do rituals where the earth takes the heavy stuff that the crystal absorbs, refreshes it, and then you take this crystal and you can reprogram it to what you want it to hold, what consciousness or memories or whatever it is. The Earth Mother has a fairly easy time just decompressing. You can't go to a tree and say, I'm going to grab the tree and cry my deepest tears and think I probably shouldn't because the tree is probably going to be some sort of antenna that draws my negativity into the planet and ruins the earth forever. Listen, no, you're not that toxic. You might think you are. You might even act like it. But a person cannot destroy the earth without destroying themselves. When you destroy yourself, the earth mourns because it's her child. You see what I mean by that? This is a child whom she loves and has given birth to. When I say, of course she loves us, of course. But if I throw trash on her, it's not the trash that I'm saying is going to destroy the earth. It's the lack of love I have. Her children are suffering. That's what makes her heart ache. You understand? Not just the behaviors. It's not what color clothes you wear. It's not if they're organic fibers. The mother's not sitting there going, yeah. I really wanted to love you today, but I sent you a message. Make sure you only wear organic fibers today. And I see you're wearing, polyester. So I can't. I tried and I can't love you. That doesn't make any sense. The mother loves parts of you that you have never seen before. It's your soul. Anytime you have ever decided to see past what you thought you saw into the soul of a person, you were seeing more clearly. Every time you did that for yourself, I used to laugh at myself or be angry because I'd made certain decisions in my life, but I'm just moving past that. You're allowing yourself to be what the mother has seen in you all along. She can only see your purity. And when you are healing yourself of all your toxic old patterns and programs, you're changing. Your frequency, your vibration heightens, doesn't it? And when that happens, you're actually uploading to your ancestors the healing you just experienced. So even if you've had the most wicked grandparents, they're part of some conspiratorial planetary Illuminati, or you just had selfish parents or whatever it is, your holiness found by you, between you and God, fanned into a flame and accepted, is going to upload to those people. You can heal the sickest of your ancestors. You can also just sit and tell us how messed up they were and that you could be a better person if only you had had different ancestors. I don't recommend that route, and I can honestly tell you, I don't think it's actually going to take you anywhere. Nobody's ever healed by resenting and proving that they have rights to resent. So I want to go to a different place. You don't even have to wish them well yet. That's a little too much for some of us if we had wicked ancestors. I can't be like picturing angel wings on them and halos on them. Don't. See them on you. And I'm telling you, the upload will begin. And at some point, there'll be enough light in them uploaded. One day you're going to look and go, where's all the stuff I used to not like about you? You know, and it's weird. All of a sudden, you'll coincidentally find some article from a paper printed on stone tablets from 8,000 years ago. You'll find, and it'll say something about your ancestors that you prejudged and didn't know, that they weren't as bad as you thought. I'm not saying we're justifying their hurtful behaviors. What I'm saying, when you heal, amazing things happen. Miraculous, mind-altering, heart-altering things happen. All of a sudden, you're thinking about a parent, it's like, oh God, oh, those people. And again, oh my God, yeah, I can't even think about it. Eventually, you're talking about it, you're decompressing, you're crying, you're screaming, you're vomiting, you're journaling, you're doing all this stuff, and it's changing. I swear, one day, someone says something about your ancestor. Oh, your last name. Oh, you know, I knew a friend of mine had a family from a certain town in a country, and they had that same last name. And they were really amazing, and they fed the people, poor people, and you know, all of a sudden, wait, your dad was that person? Oh my God, he's part of that lineage. And you're sitting there going, what? Like, I didn't know that this could happen. Or you just have a feeling change. All of a sudden, you're thinking about a family member that you used to, and all of a sudden, you're remembering something light about them. I'm not talking about justifications. I'm talking about miraculous moments. The way you used to see it, it's just not there anymore. I don't need to wait for my parents to evolve. I swear, you get to a point where you really don't care. Who are they, your parents? They're just other bodies, other people. Well, no, but there's a highly significant, because they should have, could have. Why didn't your next door neighbors do what your parents didn't do? Well, but they're not my parents. See, you're keeping an attachment to a label of who they are and what they should have done. And I understand that in this linear world, your analytical mind can justify they should have done. But now what? What if you retire them? How are they going to give you something they've never tasted themselves? They wouldn't, they couldn't, but I wish they could have. I'm sorry, you know, yeah, I wish too. Now that's gone. Take the little dandelion, blow, it's gone. The wish is gone. Now what are we going to do about it? Do you really wish your parents had been different? Yes, I do. Great. Here's how we do it. We change you upload to them your light, and I swear they'll be different. No, that's not the way I want them to be different. I want them, when I was 5, to be different. I don't think you can loop that around very easily and be 5 again. I don't think you can actually make that happen again, not at least based on the consciousness you currently hold. So wait for everybody to change or become the change you want to see. And if I change my frequency, it changes the laser light that comes from me, projected into the hologram of life, and what I see in the middle of the room, the apple, orange, or whatever I'm using as our example, that changes. I have to change what I project before I see something different. How do you change what you project? You have to own that you're the person, the projector, you know, the person running the projector. The scientist that's in the lab saying, let's try that with an apple. I'm allergic to apples. Let's try that with an orange. You just change what you're doing. Does that make sense? Nice. Remind me to do our sacred reading. Yeah, it's in there somewhere in the ethers. And all of a sudden I'm talking, all of a sudden, sacred reading. Oh, yeah.
You're already talking about it.
Yeah, am I? No, we'll still do it. And the wording you used, unstoppable love. And one other word that was brought up, well, a couple things and then we'll close. But when you really sit into who you are, which is a child of God, one of the feelings that downloads is love. And it's unconditional love. But it's even deeper than unconditional love implies there's such a thing as conditional love, doesn't it? It's even beyond unconditional love. But it is a love without ending. It is a love that's pure. It has no agendas. Our consciousness as we're healing, which comes from the annoying people in our lives that we wish weren't there. Your greatest advancements in consciousness comes from the healing the people that annoyed your consciousness. It's kind of ironic. I thought it was just from reading spiritual books. No, that too is helpful. That's refilling. But you have to empty to refill. Keep reading the books and don't do healing. All you're doing is the books are skimming off the surface. They can't soak in because you haven't broken up the hard soil here to plant something new. So break this stuff up. Look through, the hurts and the people. I understand how much it hurts and what people have selfishly done. How are they going to change if no one introduces love to them? You see? Well, I don't want them to experience love. I don't care. They don't deserve it. I hear you. But since we're all one, by condemning them to not feel love, you limited yourself. You see? It's true. We're all connected. These laws, you can't pick and cherry pick what you want. They're true or they're not. The laws of love, the laws of consciousness, sense of oneness. And since one of you asked, with anxiety, the anxiety we feel is so normal, but we medicate it. We're so used to not noticing it. It is next to impossible to incarnate on this planet and not feel anxiety in one form or another. You're going to feel depression or anxiety, one or the other or both. Why? Because this place sucks. You can put that on a bumper sticker, I guess. Just don't put my name at the bottom of the, I know it sounds pessimistic because it is. This planet is a hologram of what life would be like without love, without God. So all we do is scrape by and manifest occasional hookups and love and romance. Oh, I'm married, so I'm okay. No, actually you're not. Now you're bringing your anxiety to your partner. But you'll hope that they make it go away, and when they don't, you're going to say, you're not who I thought you were. Even though that was wrong to project onto them. You're going to be, the one that keeps anxiety away or depression away. Wow, you're so stimulating in the relationship. Sure, as long as we're skydiving and doing stuff. But as soon as I say, let's go sit by a river and be, I depressed you. You see? So what are we going to do? Just see it. Now, instead of help me or be the blame, the person, your partner in life, instead of thinking they're going to help you or be the blame of your anxiety, try this. Hold them and say, I just want you to know I'm terrified. I know I'm terrified. Why wouldn't I be terrified? You don't take a child and throw them into the midst of a jungle with no safety and it not be scared. I am terrified. I know that sounds unempowering, but wait. I'm terrified, but I'm happy to walk this with you if you're willing to walk it with me. If they look at you and say, it sounds like it's your issue because I'm not terrified, leave them. Because they're not being honest with you. We're all terrified deep inside. And we need to hold each other in love and compassion. It doesn't mean we have to use the words because that sounds so negative. Hey, everybody, I'm going to get a shirt. I'm terrified. And a thumbs up. I'm terrified. How about you? I know that doesn't sound empowering. I'm not saying you go out and blatantly say this, but it is the truth. Deep down, I don't remember God all the time. And when I don't remember God, that's a scary concept. Why did the Big Bang occur? Because we were one with God. All of a sudden we went, wait, what if we weren't? And then something happened. It's called the void, quiet. In the beginning was darkness. That's when we left the light of God and closed our mind and went into darkness and said, what would life be like without God? And then the Big Bang took place externally. But you know what the Big Bang symbolized? My terror. The Big Bang was my, oh my God! See? And everything that was ever created from that point on is a reaction to that terror. Oh my God. nebulas, earthquakes, land sinking, people dying, even death itself. They're all acts of, even if you love someone, they're going to die. Buddha said life is suffering. That's not encouraging, because he was telling you this world is a reflection of terror of being separate from God, from love, from the truth of who you are. It's terrible. But he didn't leave you hanging there. He said, but there's a way out. First, you have to own this. And then you start living in a different consciousness. That despite the way I think things are, there's another way of looking at this. And now I'm in the hologram, but I'm no longer caught up in it, in the world, not of the world. I'm no longer caught up in it. I'm in the world, but I'm suddenly shining light because I'm starting to get it. And the more I shine light, which means love, forgiveness, but it also means not buying into the illusions, not buying into the hurts and hatreds, and people trying to make you believe things that you know aren't true. You see? Nice. You're shifting. Now you're starting to glow more. You're not a dark being in a dark world. You're a light being. This is light work you're doing because you're holding a flame, a torch, shining light so that the world can breathe in changes. And that feels very good. When you leave this lifetime, if all you did was have relations that are all labeled and programmed and gratuitous, you haven't lived. You just survived, barely. But there's a way of thriving. And as we plug into God, one version of what's mediumship, it means being connected to multi-dimensions. And even that can be overwhelming. To be tuned in that much, you can be hyperstimulated from multi-dimensions. That's also not healthy. How do I remain open to all dimensions and grounded at the same time? Wow, that's a tall order. But if I believe it can be, that's the first step. Imagine yourself out of the room that was you imagined being stuck in. I'm going to imagine that despite the way the world looks, there's still love. And you start water and feeding those seeds into fruition. You don't stay attached to when they grow, how much they grow. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. Be patient, be loving, be forgiving, compassionate, and so on. And the world starts to change because everybody's terrified and they're thinking, what just happened? Well, we separated from God. Now, they're going to say, did that really happen? Are we really in trouble? You're going to be the voice that says, well, it seems to have happened. Didn't really, but it seems to. But it's okay, because while we're here, do you need somebody to hold you? Do you need somebody to help pay your bill in the grocery line? Every little act of kindness helps them start to believe they have value. When we separated, we lost value. We lost our identity. We lost that we have any worthiness. When you are kind to people, forget how they respond. When you extend kindness, you're planting a seed that they actually didn't fall so much as they think they did. You're saying, what seems to have been, okay, but guess what? Today you're worthy. Giving people your time, not to the point of rescuing and harming yourself, but every act of kindness becomes you're planting a seed. Remember, you're not just doing a nice deed. And don't just do it, I heard this is good karma. Now I can get good out of this. You're doing it because it's the truth. Everyone is a holy child of God, worthy of God's presence. Well, how are they going to get that? I'm telling God, you show them your presence. God's going, no, you do it. Because I didn't lose sight of them, you did. So now I want you to prove to them that someone sees the light in them. Well, why don't you do it, God? Because I don't need the proof. That's all I see is the light in them. You're the one with the problem. You're the one who has to turn it around. Wow, nice, huh? Please take a few centering breaths. Set aside all the stuff of this world for a moment. Just nice, centered, relaxed breathing. A brief visualization. Imagine, here we are sitting in this room. You're imagining you're sitting somewhere, you're standing somewhere. Let the setting just drop in on its own. But imagine in front of you a portal of light, a doorway of light. If you walk through that doorway, you will walk in to the remembrance of God and who you really are. Don't walk yet, just see it. What if there is a doorway that if we walk through it, we have complete remembrance? And imagine that you take your hand and you go to place it through the portal, but there's a membrane of some kind, transparent. You can see through it to know there's light inside this doorway, but it's got a membrane of some kind, keeping your hand from going through. Just take a few seconds with that to really make it vivid. Here it is, right in front of me. I can see it. I can feel it. I know the presence of God is right here, but I can't enter. Look at how that reflects in your day-to-day life. I know how to respond to this person, but I don't. I seem to always say the wrong things and cause more inflammation of the situation. I blurt, I judge, whatever it is. That's all it is, the membrane. And a voice from the other side of that doorway says, I know you really want to enter, don't you? Yes, I do. And you really get that it's what you want more than anything else in your life, isn't it? Really think about it. Yes, you want your bills paid, but you want this more. You want romance, but I promise you want this more, don't you? Yes, I do. Great. There's one problem. You cannot walk through this membrane, the door to God, alone. So here's where free will comes in. My beloved child, God says, I'm going to need you to turn to your right and welcome with you someone that needs forgiveness. The person that was most rude or hurtful, the person that didn't give you what you wanted or did give you what you didn't want, whatever it is. It could be a figure, political figure, religious figure. Whomever is handed to you is the right one. The Holy Spirit puts in your right hand the hand or arm or shoulder of someone that needs to be allowed to walk through that membrane. It doesn't matter how much you might think they don't deserve it. That's not the point today. That's the stuff of earth. This is not earth we're going to. Try not to even go into a place of judgment or thinking. Try to stay so in the moment. You have no head thoughts, no evaluations. Just let them go through. Just guide them on through that portal of light. No resistance. And they enter. Please understand, the more you thought they were undeserving, the more joy-filled God itself feels for you delivering someone that was that far gone. And now, reach out and there's no membrane. And walk through. Walk through into something that's called tranquility or peace. Walk through and just bask in that for a moment. Stand and breathe that in. Every breath for the next half dozen breaths is breathing in the presence of God, the peace of God, tranquility, joy. Breathe that in so that it stays permanently as part of your inner being. And as much as you would like to reside in this place, take it with you back to the world. Back through the portal, the light is in you, the light is you. Walk back into the world with a commitment. as I come back into this room and engage in my day-to-day life, this is what I'm going to bring. Because this is who I really am. If I lose sight of this, I have chosen to lose sight of my oneness with God. And I'll just need to own that as soon as possible and turn it around. Gradually reintegrate into your body. Feel a sense of gratitude, readiness to kind of launch into the day, into the world, into life, and back dealing with family and challenges and work and whatever it is, bills you struggle. I'm not going to lose sight of who I am. I'm going to imagine that I'm connected to the thing that can pay my bills. I'm going to imagine that I have the wherewithal to look past certain things, let certain relations go, even if I have to say goodbye to certain individuals. I have everything I need right in my heart and soul. And so it is. Sweet, huh? Nice. It's to be in the world and not of it. It's not easy, but we're quite capable. I mean, we're co-creating the entire thing. Owning that gives us a greater sense of power. Empowerment doesn't mean I'm going to be louder and start fighting the bad guys. Empowerment's like this smile you have inside, you know? Jesus smiled even on his way to the cross. He smiled. Despite feeling pain, he smiled. And he told some women on the side of the road, as recorded in one of the lost books of the Bible, he said, do not believe what you're seeing. Like, it's okay. They focused on his torment and pain, and he had the wherewithal to say, it's okay. And we need a little bit of that. There's a great song, it's called The Revealing Science of God, by the band Yes, on their album Tales from Topographic Oceans, which was inspired by the book called Autobiography of a Yogi, The Life of Yogananda. Something in there inspired John Anderson of Yes to create an album that would sort of musically express what's found in some of the Far Eastern masterful books. And one of the songs, The Revealing Science of God, there's a chorus part where he says, and I'm paraphrasing a word or two on this, but getting over all the hurts, getting over all the clear-cut trees. Let them rape the forests. That's terrible. Let them rape the forest, because you know what? He says, let them rape the forest. They might stand and leave them, and then clearly we'll be home. Getting over wars we do not mean, or so it seems so clearly, but the wars, they're sheltered with our passions. Let them go, and clearly we'll be home. So he's talking about a consciousness, holding a consciousness despite what they're doing to the outside world. Hold this center and clearly we'll be home. Don't judge the people that are clear cutting, which is not easy. You know, oh my God, the trees. I know. Don't judge them. Their energy will shift and one day they'll stop cutting the trees down. Try to force them to not do it. And I know there are people that have believed in that sort of thing. They would spike the trees, as they call it. They would spike the trees and create potential dangers for people that are cutting down trees. That's somebody's dad or mom that won't be coming home because you were fighting for the trees. The trees don't need your fight. The trees have a spirit that's part of a greater spirit that is the whole planet, and they're far bigger than you. Let them rape the forest. They might stand and leave them, and then clearly we'll be home. Hate them. In any way, even the politics of today, hate one side or the other, and you're actually feeding it. The ego doesn't say, I'm on this side, trying to mess with you and cause harm to the ego's in on both. I'm going to make this side act out. I'm going to make this side react. Good, this is wonderful. Now I'm going to make this side attack back and just start this little fear-based ping pong game that just goes back and forth. You know, at some point, what's going to happen if you don't hit the ping pong ball back? It ends. The game ends. Good. Let's go have lunch. Like, can we handle that? Can we survive it? No, because I might lose the game. What game? It's a game. Wow. Are you so small that you can't lose a game? Wow. Thank you. We're going to, thank you. We're going to take our collection and do our closing prayer, but I first want to share our sacred reading for today. Oh, they get cheers. I see. So let's have a moment, our sacred reading, our mission statement, and then we'll go into our closing. Go ahead.
From Hildegard of Bingen. Holy Spirit, giving life to all life, moving all creatures, root of all things, washing them clean, wiping out their mistakes, healing their wounds. You are our true life, luminous, wonderful, awakening the heart from its ancient sleep. And so it is.
Nice. Our mission statement, together please. The Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. Nice, thank you. All right, we're going to send our baskets and bags around for the donations. We appreciate your support. Be as generous as you can be. Your donations go in the bags, please remember that. The baskets are for any extra donations you give. Those we use for people of lesser means or sometimes special projects. We'll do our prosperity blessing together, please. It's posted online and it's also on the papers in front of you. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. Can anyone share very briefly what you heard or learned today that made the most sense for you? Imagine. Retire the parents. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, you're the projector. You're the projectionist, choosing what gets projected into the world. Did you get what I was saying about that? How we do that? And we even collectively decide what animals will and will not be on earth, what foliage will and will not be on earth. We do that. We say it's time for this to happen, and it's going to happen when we're here. And then we act like victims of it. But it's not just global archetypes we manifest. It's also relationships. There are the individuals that say, oh, you again, okay. All right, I'll agree to this. We'll go in, let's get her done. All right? And then your angels are going, you're so brave. You're so courageous. And they're trying to give you a boost. And then they'll say, but you haven't heard how many years it'll be first. This is going to be a 40-year relationship. No! And they'll say, but we have some good news. There's going to be a point just 4 years in where the door will open and you can walk out. But you probably won't, because finances are going to be tight and you're going to have to decide, can I trust in God or do I stay married to, And it's up to you. And you'll say, oh no, I'll go with God. Yeah, they all say that. Just letting you know how things look on the other side. Please stand for our closing prayer. Thank you for bringing such wonderful topics for us to weave together. I think we covered most of them. Feels good, yes? Soak in, everybody, the feeling of Happy Father's Day. And first and foremost, what it means is Happy Father God's Day. Let that really be present with you. Happy Father's Day to any healthy father you had. Happy Father's Day to the father in your mom, to the father in you, to the provider or whatever you think of a male or father to be. Own it in you. Be a great father today to all people in whatever form that takes. But remember, do it on your own and you have limits. Parent others with love as though God's flowing through you, and it becomes unlimited power. It's 11:11. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Bye-bye. You're welcome.